Hey everybody, just want to see the new Rocky movie, Creed 2. Let's get into this review, shall we? So, getting all that weird stuff off of me, all seriousness, Creed 2 is, whew. Before we get into it, comparing it to Creed 1, they're basically modernized Rocky films. And getting into Rocky films, I didn't grow up with those movies. I don't have the same nostalgic feel as if I watched Goonies or Friday the 13th or those films, because I grew up with them. I didn't get into Rocky until sophomore year of high school, around the time Creed 1 was coming out. My uncle liked Creed, or he liked the Rocky films, and I thought, they're having a marathon on AMC, and we'll go ahead and watch them, check them out, and whew, I loved them. I mean, I only had that time before watching Creed. I only had the opportunity to watch Rocky 1 through Rocky 5. So no Rocky Balboa in there. But I liked Creed. I thought, it was a good movie. And I liked the Rocky films. I watched Balboa, I think, about a few months after that. I liked that one. So, I liked most of the Rocky films. I liked Creed, so I thought, well, I'll go. This movie went completely over my radar. I didn't know about this film until maybe 2 or 3 months ago, so I don't know. But let's get into the film. So this film opens up with, don't worry, we're not going to go into spoilers. We'll get in spoiler corner later, but this film, starts up, it just goes right into the concept of the film. If you've seen the trailers, you know that, Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, he is, he's a boxer now. And if you watch the trailers, Ivan Drago is back, and this is pretty much the film that a lot of people were wanting. From hearing people on the internet and watching other movie reviews and stuff like that, I know that people talked about, if they ever do something like this, it'd be Rocky's son versus Drago's son, or Creed's son versus Drago's son, and something like that. And this is exactly what this film is, and it doesn't shy away from that. And we have, right at the opening of the movie, we're introduced to Ivan Drago again. We're introducing his son, and then we're brought back into Rocky and Adonis's world with the big world championship battle between Adonis Creed, and I don't know the other guy's name. I just recently watched this movie, but he's not important. He's just a guy who has the belt, and Adonis fights him to get that belt, to get that that famous belt. I guess it's more, okay, so Creed's a big name. He's got the belt, the world championship, the heavyweight world championship belt. He's got Rocky on his side. It's the perfect time for the Dragos to step up and fight. And it's all organized by this one guy, which I don't believe he got a name either. If he did, I didn't hear it. he set this whole thing up, and he's pretty much he's pretty much the character that everybody is. They wanted to see this film like this. This is how they would have saw it, and this is pretty much that guy. And you get two fights in the beginning. You get a simple fight with Drago and someone. You get a simple fight with Creed and then the person who currently was the heavyweight world championship belt owner. And then he got the belt. And I thought, okay, well, this film's going to be about him training to fight Drago, which it kind of is. But this movie parallels with the fourth film with, how Adonis feels like, I have to fight them. They killed my dad. Prepare to die. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. No. And, and he's building up his family. He's getting married, and you've seen the trailers. This isn't spoilers. He's got a kid. He doesn't have a kid at the beginning. That happens later. But, it's just, he's got to prepare for this fight. He's going to fight Drago's son. And that's what this movie is. So, honestly, it worked. It really worked for a film. And they also have Rocky's got his own thing going on. This isn't Rocky's movie, and I understood that. It was just like the first film, it wasn't his movie, but it centered around his world. And it felt like Rocky is observing this new world that is based off of his, and everything that had anything to do with him is on past. Creed's gone. Apollo is dead. His wife is dead. His friend is dead. His trainer is dead. And he doesn't talk to his son anymore. So Rocky is very alone, and the only person he truly has at the moment is Adonis Creed and his family. And it feels to me that Rocky is just there. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's a very interesting approach to this character. And, you're not going to see another movie where Stallone is going to get out there and fight. You're not going to see that. Although, I do hear they're making another Rambo movie, so it's not like it's impossible, but no, you're not going to get that. Especially with, if you watch the first one, Rocky is, he had cancer, and I'm guessing he's a little bit better now. Really, the way they approached this film with the fights was pretty good. I really, watching the film, watching how these characters fought and how they trained, and at what near the end of the film, what Adonis did to train to fight Drago. I was just exhausted watching it. I was like, whew. I felt like I was going to start sweating. I'm getting myself. I feel like I'm working out myself. I mean, they did a pretty good job showing that off. Really, without going into spoilers, I really liked that. I mean, they did a good job with this film. I highly enjoyed it. I'll give my score at the end of spoiler corner section of this review, but I really liked this movie. It was really good. Not necessarily my favorite film of this year, but speaking of the guy who watched Fantastic Beasts 2 the day before watching Creed, I gotta say, I should have just watched Creed. I wasn't too big of a fan of that Fantastic Beasts 2. I liked the first one. This isn't a review of that movie, okay? No. But, this is my favorite film of the year. But it's really good. Saying like, you can't really compare movies like this. Okay, I can compare Venom with a Spider-Man movie. That's fine. I could compare a Spider-Man movie with an Avengers type film. I can compare a Jason movie and a Halloween movie. But you can't compare Creed with those type of films because it's different. It's a different type of film. It's a lot more emotional. It's a lot more story-driven. It's for a boxing movie. But that's what, Rocky was. It was, you have Rocky, and you have his friend, Polly. You have his wife, Adrian, or her girlfriend, or one person he liked, going with the first film, or whatever. And you had not just a boxing movie, but a story-driven film. And this is what this was. You dealt with problems that were basically, it was based in the real world. You had problems, real problems, and you can relate with that story. Some people could. Not necessarily the boxing parts, but there's a lot of stuff in there that you can relate to, and you can't compare these with other films that I usually review on this channel, but I liked it. I really, truly liked it. Let's just go ahead and go on spoilers, because I feel like I'm rambling on here. Alright, so we're in spoiler corner for Creed 2. If you don't want spoilers for this film, please go to the end of the spoiler corner. The timestamp will be in the corner, one of the corners in this video. So just go there if you want my final verdict of this film. Thank you. Alright. Give you about 5 seconds. Alright, yeah, no time. Okay, so Creed 2. Scenes I haven't talked about, but I wanted to dive into a little bit more in detail. The first fight between Victor Drago, which is Ivan Drago's son, and Adonis Creed, the first fight. And, let's talk about why I think, spoiler alert, this is spoiler corner, but Adonis loses the first fight. And here's why I think he lost. Tying it to Creed, the original Rocky IV film, there was two big fights. There was the Creed versus Drago and Rocky versus Drago. Drago beat Creed and killed him, so I thought, okay, story-wise, that's why he lost. You had Adonis lose against Drago, mainly because I think he wasn't prepared. He didn't have that emotional support. He didn't, what I mean that is he didn't have Rocky, because Rocky did not have anything to do with it. Because, he still feels responsible for Apollo Creed's death. He, because he didn't throw the towel in. And, he died. He feels responsible for that, and he doesn't want history to repeat itself with Adonis. He's not, and he's trying to tell him it's not because I think you will lose. It's not because I think you're weaker than him. it's because I don't want to take that chance. This is what I was getting. That's what I got out of it. I don't want you to take that chance of losing. I want you to still be here. When I'm gone, you should still be here. You should still be here because you have a family. You have a wife. You have a daughter. The baby's a girl. And in the beginning, he asked her to marry him, and she says yes. We don't see the marriage. We don't get to see the wedding. So I just assume that they are. So don't fault me for assuming. They're not, but if they are, good. I don't care. I'm not going to get into that, but he's got a family, and he doesn't want Adonis to, he doesn't want him to be gone like Creed was. When Apollo died, he wasn't there for his wife. He wasn't there for Adonis, and that is understandable. And Adonis, he didn't see it that way. He had in his head he wanted to fight Drago. He was determined, and it's just one of those stories, I have to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it with or without you. And if you don't, then, well, I'm just going to find someone else. And he does. And I believe this character was introduced in the first Creed film. And this guy, I think, was the son of the guy who was training Apollo Creed. I'm not 100% sure on that because it's been a long time since I saw Creed. But I believe that's who that was. And it is kind of hinted at in this film because he points at a picture of both that coach and Apollo Creed. So I don't know. But I think that's who it is. But he gets him to train him, and they go into the fight. They go to fight Drago. And Drago and them fight, but technically, Adonis Creed still wins the fight because Victor Drago gets disqualified due to the fact that he basically won the fight. He broke his ribs, dropped to the ground. Adonis was done, but he hit him while he was on the ground, and that was why he was disqualified for the World Heavyweight World Championship belt. And Adonis was sent to the hospital. He had to go in recovery, and it kind of broke him. It's the classic hero story. Hero fights villain. Villain defeats hero. Hero has to go on a journey to find himself and build his strength up so he can fight the villain again and defeat him. And that's the story. And really, Victor Drago is portrayed as not really much of a villain. And they're making, the somewhat bad guy, you can relate with him. He's relatable. You can understand why he's doing this. He grew up with, Ivan Drago. He was growing up having to fight. His mom abandoned him because Ivan Drago lost a fight. He didn't have a mom, and his dad only wanted him to do was to fight, to box for this moment. So you can understand why he's doing what he's doing, and you can understand why Creed's doing what he's doing. And the words of his fault. It's Creed's fault or Rocky's fault or whose ever fault he blames for losing his wife. Why his wife left them, and he tells this to Victor right before the fight ends, and that's why Victor punches Creed when he's on the ground, which disqualifies him. And then he decides he's going to go on a rampage in the boxing ring, and other boxing rings, fighting other boxers. And it's meaningless to him because it's not Creed, because Creed is the one that means something. If Victor defeats Creed, then he gets his family's respect back in Russia, and that's understandable. That is relatable. You can understand why he's doing this. And then you have Creed, why he's doing it, because these guys killed his dad, or at least Ivan Drago killed his dad. So you understand why he's fighting him. And at the end, it's all and we'll get into that, but it's revealed that he didn't fight for his dad, he fought for himself, and that's understandable too, I guess. At first it was because of his dad, but near the end it was to prove it to himself. So, the plot line with the baby being, his wife, Adonis's wife is, revealed in the first film that she's going deaf. She's deaf. I think it was revealed in the first film that she was going deaf and she's got hearing aids, and soon she will be fully deaf. But in this film, it even leaves a plot hole because the whole thing is the baby going to be deaf? Is she not going to be able to hear? And they have a test and it says, hey, there's no response. It's looking like she is, but they don't take any more tests, and that isn't revealed that is she or is she not deaf. And you can see, how upset Adonis is because he wants his baby to hear, and it's sad, but it's not like it's the end of the world. It's just, something that you have to take. You just gotta. It's just another problem you have to deal with. And with this character dealing with so much, it's kind of, he wants a win. He wants a win, a personal win, and and they don't dive into that, and that's fine. It's not important to the main story. And there's also another plot line where Rocky is lonely to the extent of, his wife. We've covered this. His wife, Adrian's dead. Polly, his best friend, is dead. He doesn't have much people left except for his son. And him and his son don't talk. So the whole thing is he doesn't talk to his son. Every time he wants to, he hangs up. And when Adonis's baby's born, he comes close to calling him, but he doesn't. And the good thing about the end of this film is he does go to his son Robert, and he even meets his grandson for the first time. And for Rocky fans, I think that's a really good way to end the film, for that character at least. So I want to go back to the fight before we go into the big ending for Adonis and his family. He fights Victor again, and he wins. This time it's more than 3 rounds. It was 3 rounds the first fight they do. This time it's a lot more. I think it's 5 or 6, and he's breaking his ribs again, repeatedly hitting him in the ribs, and Adonis just keeps taking the pain and keeps fighting him until it's going good. It starts okay, Adonis is getting there good. He's getting good hits at the beginning. Then it starts going into Drago's, and he's doing good. And then near the end, it's more Adonis is taking the pain. He keeps getting up. He's taking the pain. He's getting back up. And then finally, it's just Drago is losing, and he gets abandoned by his mother, because his mother is there, and I believe the other people they're with her, and they were kind of with Ivan Drago when he was a fighter fighting Rocky. He was. They all leave, abandon him again. What I liked about it was they didn't have Ivan Drago abandon him too. He stayed by his son's side, and he was sympathetic. He wasn't like, you failed me, you failed us, you failed your country. He wasn't like that. He was actually like a dad, and he said, he comforted him. In my opinion, it seemed like that because he threw the towel in. He didn't abandon him. And even at the end, it looks like his relationship with his son is a little bit better because you can see that with his training, his dad's training alongside him. Instead of training him, he's training alongside him because they're running in the street. It was usually Ivan was driving the car behind his son while he's running. This time they're running together. So I thought that's really good. So getting into the end of the movie with Adonis, he goes to Apollo Creed's grave and says, I've sorry it took me so long to get here to talk to you, but I did it. I won the fight, but I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. And he's like, and I want to introduce you to someone, which is his daughter. And that's a nice story ending because it parallels Rocky. It says father and son talking, finally getting back together. Well, Don's a little more sad because his dad's dead, but it wraps this story up in it's a nice ending for every character, even Ivan Drago and Victor Drago, because their relationship is a lot more. It's a lot better now, from what I could tell, and it seemed like a really good ending for the film. Will there be another Creed film, a Creed 3? I couldn't tell you. If they wanted to leave this film series off with this film, they could. Because going off with the last film, Rocky had cancer. I was thinking that they were actually going to kill Rocky in this film. They didn't. And I don't necessarily think you have to kill Rocky in this series. If you want to end the series, I think you could end this film series with this movie if you wanted to, because it had a happy ending for everybody. You don't need to have that sad ending where Rocky dies. You could just say, hey, he's going to build his relationship back up with his son and his grandson, and Creed is going to continue to be the heavy worldweight championship, and he's got a daughter and a wife, and he's got his mom, and Ivan Drago and Victor Drago are better, so everything's good. So my final verdict of Creed 2. It's got the heart and the spirit and the action of the other Rocky movies, and looking at it as its own thing, as its own entity, without the Rocky elements, it's still a good movie series. You can't compare it to the other films that are viewed on this channel, like Halloween or Venom or films like those, because this is based in the real world. This is a film that can really happen, and with saying that, it's a lot more relatable than any other films I've watched this year. You can't compare this to a Spider-Man movie. You can't compare this to other films that I've seen because you just can't. It's not that kind of film. It's a film. Now, getting out of the boxing movies, it's a very emotional film. And it's a boxing movie, yes, but there's also other good boxing movies like Cinderella Man, for an example. There's good boxing movies out there, but the Rocky series is the one that's the most well known. And this just adds on to that story, And I honestly really liked it. And they wanted to end the movie series here, they could. But I don't think they're going to. Do I think they're going to do a Creed 3? Depending on if this one does well in the box office, I could probably say might. It's really up to Stallone, I believe. If Stallone wants to be in there and do it, then that's great. I went in this film thinking they were going to kill Rocky off because in the last one he got cancer. So I thought they were going to kill him. They didn't. And so I'm very happy that they didn't. And the question is, do they need to do that? Do they need to kill Rocky? And I thought, no, they don't. They want to end the movie series here, then end it here. And I'm happy if they do. Although, here was another thing, if they were going to get the guy who played Apollo Creed to show up as a cameo. I know it doesn't make sense, but I was thinking, are they going to do that? Are they going to do like, oh, Adonis is starting to lose the final battle? Is like Creed going to come out as like a hallucination to him, to Adonis? It's like, get up, son, something like that. It's like, I hope they not. Because they did something like that with Creed 1, where when he got knocked out, he got back up because he was getting a flashback of his dad fighting. So, but it wasn't necessarily what I'm describing. So, I'm glad that they restrained themselves from doing that. Not like they were thinking about doing that. And I hope I didn't give them an idea. But I think ending this storyline, I don't think it would make much sense they did it with another one. And it wouldn't have made sense they did at all. But I was thinking, are they going to do that? They didn't, so I'm like, okay, good for you, movie. But, But I like this movie, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Creed 2 is awesome. It's relatable. It's a really good Rocky movie. Parallels with my favorite Rocky film, Rocky 4. So it even has some of the music from Rocky 4 in there at the end. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Come on, get 'em. It's really good. So I hope you enjoyed the film, and if you didn't watch it, I recommend you go see this film. Hope you didn't watch the spoiler part of this review, though. I know there are people that do that, though. So you were warned, though. So don't give me crap. But I like this movie. I really did. And I hope you liked this review. I hope you agree with me. If you didn't, well, I'm sorry. Give me a like and subscribe if you like this stuff, because I'm going to keep doing it. And I hope the next one is even better. Alright, guys. I will see you next time. Bobby out.